In the tumultuous twilight of the Ming Dynasty, a figure of legendary stature emerged, a man whose life was a whirlwind of loyalty, conflict, and ambition. His name was Zheng Chenggong, but history would remember him as Koxinga, the lord of the imperial surname. His story is not just one of a Ming loyalist fighting a losing war, but of a visionary leader who carved out a new destiny across the sea. Koxinga was born in 1624 in Hirado, Japan, to a Chinese merchant pirate father, Zheng Chenggong, and a Japanese mother, Tagawa Matsu. This mixed heritage gave him a unique perspective, bridging two powerful maritime cultures. He spent his early years in Japan before moving to Fujian, China, at the age of 7 to receive a classical Confucian education. He excelled in his studies, showing great promise, but destiny had a different path for him than that of a scholar official. The world he knew was crumbling. By the 164 OS, the Ming Dynasty was collapsing under the weight of internal rebellion and the external threat of the Manchu-led Qing forces from the north. In 1644, Beijing fell, and the Ming court fled south, establishing a series of short-lived regimes known as the Southern Ming. This is where Koxinga's story truly begins. His father, the powerful Zheng Chenggong, controlled a vast maritime empire and a formidable fleet. Initially, he supported the Southern Ming, but seeing the tide turn, he made a fateful decision. In 1646, Zheng Chenggong surrendered to the Qing, hoping to preserve his family's wealth and power. Koxinga was horrified. He pleaded with his father, arguing that surrendering to the invaders was a betrayal of their duty to the Ming. When his father refused to listen, Koxinga, then just 22 years old, made a choice that would define his life. He renounced his father, gathered his own loyal forces, and pledged his unwavering allegiance to the Ming cause. The Southern Ming's Uzlanghui emperor was so impressed by his loyalty that he granted him the imperial surname, Zhu, and a new personal name, Chenggong, meaning success. From this, he became known as Koxinga, lord of the imperial surname, which the Dutch would later transliterate as Koxinga. For the next decade and a half, Koxinga became the foremost military leader of the Southern Ming resistance. From his base in the coastal regions of Fujian, he waged a relentless war against the Qing. He was a brilliant naval strategist, using his powerful fleet to control the southeastern coast, launch raids deep into Qing territory, and finance his war effort through maritime trade. His forces were disciplined and well-equipped, a beacon of hope for those who still dreamed of a Ming restoration. His most audacious campaign came in 1659. Koxinga assembled a massive army and navy, sailing up the Yangtze River in a daring attempt to capture the great city of Nanjing, the former Ming capital. The campaign started brilliantly, with city after city falling to his forces. He laid siege to Nanjing, and for a moment it seemed as if the Ming Dynasty might be restored. However, overconfidence and a clever Qing counterattack turned the tables. Koxinga's army was defeated, and he was forced into a devastating retreat. The loss at Nanjing was a crippling blow. It became clear that retaking the mainland was an increasingly distant dream. His coastal bases were under constant pressure from the Qing, who implemented a brutal great clearance policy, forcing coastal populations to move inland to cut off Koxinga's supplies and support. He needed a new, secure base of operations, a place where he could regroup, rebuild, and continue the fight. His eyes turned eastward, across the strait, to the island of Taiwan. At the time, Taiwan was a Dutch colony known as Formosa. The Dutch had established a trading outpost there, Fort Zeelandia, nearly 40 years earlier. For Koxinga, Taiwan was the perfect solution. It was strategically located, agriculturally rich, and far enough from the mainland to be safe from the Qing Navy. In 1661, Koxinga launched his invasion. He assembled a fleet of hundreds of ships and an army of 25,000 men. It was a massive gamble. The Dutch, though outnumbered, were well fortified in Fort Zeelandia, and possessed superior European cannons. The initial landing was a success. Koxinga's forces, guided by Chinese settlers on the island who were unhappy with Dutch rule, quickly gained control of the surrounding area. What followed was a grueling 9-month siege. The Dutch governor, Frederik Coit, put up a fierce defense, hoping for reinforcements that never came in sufficient strength. Koxinga's forces systematically cut off the fort's supplies and launched repeated attacks. The determination of his army, combined with the lack of support from Dutch headquarters in Batavia, sealed the fort's fate. On February 1st, 1662, Governor Coit formally surrendered. The Dutch were allowed to leave with their personal belongings, ending 38 years of colonial rule. Koxinga had achieved the impossible. He had expelled a European colonial power from a major Asian territory, a feat unheard of at the time. With Taiwan secured, Koxinga established the Kingdom of Tungning, positioning it as a government in exile for the Ming Dynasty. He established his capital at Fort Zeelandia, which he renamed Anping. He set about transforming the island, establishing a governmental structure modeled on the Ming system, promoting agriculture to feed his people and army, and encouraging migration from the mainland. He laid the foundation for the Han Chinese society that would come to dominate Taiwan as culture and demographics. But Koxinga would not live to see his plans fully realized. The immense pressures of years of constant warfare, the grief over the execution of his father and brothers by the Qing, and the stress of governing his new kingdom took a heavy toll. Just a few months after his victory, in June 1st to 6th, 6-2, Koxinga fell gravely ill, likely with malaria. He died at the young age of 37. His final moments were said to be filled with rage and despair, lamenting that he had not lived to see the Ming restored. His son, Zheng Chenggong, succeeded him and continued to rule Taiwan, resisting the Qing for another 2 decades. But in 1683, the Kingdom of Tungning finally fell to a massive Qing naval invasion, and Taiwan was incorporated into the Qing Empire. Though his dream of restoring the Ming Dynasty died with him, Koxinga's legacy is immense and complex. In mainland China, he is revered as a national hero who fought against foreign Manchu invaders. In Taiwan, he is celebrated as a founding father, the man who drove out the European colonists and laid the groundwork for modern Taiwanese society. He is a deified figure, worshipped in temples across the island. Koxinga's life was a testament to loyalty, resilience, and ambition. He was a Ming loyalist, a pirate's son, a brilliant general, and the king of an island fortress. His story is a pivotal chapter in the history of China and Taiwan, a dramatic epic of a man who defied an empire and forged a new kingdom against all odds. His name, Koxinga, echoes through history as a symbol of resistance and the enduring quest for a homeland. Thank you for watching. If you found this documentary interesting, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell for more stories from history. We'll see you next time.